Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going through all of the books and films and TV shows that I watched in November. Full disclosure, I only managed to finish one book in November. Whoops. And that was none other than my new favourite book, it would seem, The Cat Who Saved Books by Suzuki Natsukawa, because I swear in the last several videos I've talked about this book. But yeah, it's really magical. I feel like this sort of time is the best time to read this or to gift it to someone for Christmas, because it's just cozy, heartwarming, and has a really nice message behind it. And if you love books, you'll love this book. So we won't say anything else because I've already spoken about it. I am currently reading several books at once. We all know that I am currently making my way through Murakami's The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. Currently I think I'm at like 320 pages in, so roughly just over halfway. I did sort of leave it for a while, but then I picked it up again this past month, and I'm really enjoying this, just the weirdness of it all, to be honest. Like, it's strange. Not much has happened, but so much has happened, and it's just bizarre. And I can't really say much until I've finished it, I think. Like, I feel like this is the kind of book that you just need to journey with it as it unfolds, and then afterwards try and unpack it, and hopefully I will finish this in December. Famous last words. If January rolls around and I'm still saying I'm reading this, then someone beat me over the head. And I also started, like, I think we're not even 100 pages in. No, we're about 82 pages in, but I started reading the first book in the Wheel of Time series, mainly because the TV show started and I was like, oh my god, I haven't read it yet. So the TV show is a little bit ahead, and obviously changes have been made, so we'll see what the differences are. But yeah, like, sometimes I don't really mind reading things alongside watching them. Sometimes it helps with my imagination, because like I don't really see things in my brain, so it helps sort of, yeah, I don't really understand that either, but it sort of helps with imagination, like fleshing it out, I guess. But yeah, and I just want to show you my new bookmarks. Look how pretty that is. It's a Monet painting, but I got it from this company, and you get like 28, I think. 28 little bookmarks, all with Monet's paintings on them. So cute. I'll leave a link to the shop that I got it from down below, because I did this massive stationery order recently because I wanted to get a planner for next year, and yeah, so I just went a bit wild. Anyway, yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. Like, the vibe I've been getting from the show and of the book that I've read so far is it's kind of quite obviously a Lord of the Rings rip-off, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Like, I love Lord of the Rings and I love that kind of fantasy, so I'm not mad about it, but I'm intrigued to see how far Robert Jordan will take that, and then when he'll branch away from it. And I think that's when the book series will become perhaps more interesting, is when he's sort of left that very Lord of the Rings vibe. But yeah, really enjoying it. And then the last thing I'm currently reading is a webtoon called Yumi's Cells, and it is so funny, sweet, cute, and relatable. It's basically kind of like Inside Out, so you've got the character Yumi, and then you get like the thoughts and feelings of the cells that make her up. So you've got a love cell, you've got an emotional cell, a rational cell, a naughty cell, and just they interact with each other, and kind of it's almost like it explains why people behave the way they do, and it's really funny. And the reason why I started reading the webtoon is because there was actually a TV drama starring Kim Go-eun from Goblin and a few other dramas, and yeah, so I watched that and I was like, oh my god, I need to read this because it's just so funny, and they're doing multiple seasons, which is good, but I just want all of it now. So yeah, I started reading the webtoon because I really enjoyed the drama, and yeah, so that's a perfect segue into television shows that I've been watching this month. Yumi Cell pretty much binged watched it. It was just like the best time. So I would totally recommend that if you're into Korean dramas, or you just sort of like romantic comedies that just feel really real and relatable. I've had to make notes because I watched too much stuff this month. Like, that's why I'm not reading, is because I'm watching too many TV shows and too many movies. It's like, maybe I need to slap myself around the face a few times and say, stop watching TV, read a book instead. But yeah, Yumi Cells, really enjoyed that. To be honest, this month has been like, there's just been so many Korean dramas come out recently that it's just been non-stop. But one example, I mean, this one actually came out I think in October, but I didn't get around to watching it when it came out. Your Name, which is like an action crime drama, and it follows a young woman who wants to solve the murder of her father, who was involved in a gang, and she thinks that a police officer shot him. But she joins the gang that her father was involved in, and sort of rises up and then joins the police to sort of become a mole for the gang leader. But there is a twist. It's kind of obvious, but the execution is brilliant. I love how it was shot. Like, there were moments that felt like very reminiscent of Hong Kong cinema. Then there was like almost a homage to Old Boy with the corridor fight scene. Like, I really enjoyed it, and it's the kind of thing, if you like action crime dramas, then you'd definitely like that. And weirdly, this month I've watched loads of things with Park Hee-soon in it. So the next TV show I'm going to talk about is Dr. Brain, which is Apple TV Plus's first Korean drama. And it is directed, created and written by Kim Ji-woon, who has made so many cool films. I'll quickly like flash them up here. And I love the way this is unfolding. Like, it's about this scientist who has developed this technology where he can literally transfer information from one brain to another. So the idea is that he is trying to find out what happened to his family. His son died in a fire, but it was very, very suspicious. So he's decided that he's going to investigate how this happened by scanning people's brains and basically hacking into them and finding out tidbits and investigating. It stars Lee Sung-kyung from Parasite. Obviously Park Hee-soon plays like this really sort of funny private detective in it as well, who assists the main doctor on his mission. And there's just some really bizarre things that happen in this show. Like, there was one moment where I was just like, what? No, really? And just the way they played it, it was just so, like, it was just like as if it was, oh, yeah, okay. But it was so bizarre, and it was brilliant. But yeah, and I also love how it's shot. Like, there's such a varied colour palette, and it's all very saturated, and there's like very neon and like strong lighting used, which just kind of makes it feel all a bit more, I don't know, like almost overwhelming, which I like the idea of using colour palettes and cinematography to sort of, it's quite a heady experience, so we're kind of feeling overwhelmed by all of this colour and all the mystery, kind of like the main character is. But I don't know whether that's me just being pretentious. But yeah, really enjoying that drama as well. I think there's a couple more episodes to go, so I'm excited to see how it ends and whether we'll get another season as well. Happiness, which can only be ironically called that. It's set after the coronavirus pandemic, like in the near future, and there's like this new virus going around that kind of makes people behave almost like zombies / vampires. So the idea is that someone like gets infected and then they become really thirsty, but water doesn't quench the thirst. The only thing that does is blood. So yeah, so it's very much playing on the sort of paranoia that obviously the current pandemic is bringing to people, and then also kind of giving us a bit of like the zombie survival genre that is just like one of the best things to watch, because it really sort of deconstructs like society and how humans behave, and that's exactly what this show does. Is there's like a whole apartment building, it's a luxury complex where like the people at the top own their apartments and then the people down below are renting, so there's like class disparities, and then that's only sort of exasperated because of this new scary thing going around. But yeah, it's really interesting. I love it. Like, it's really funny. And to be honest with that, it's one of those TV shows where you're waiting each week for the new episodes to come out. Like, you're like, oh yes, finally I can watch the next episode. So yeah, it's really good. And then the final Korean drama that I'm going to talk about is none other than Hellbound, which, can I just say, what an intense ride. It's crazy. Like, it's so relentless in its sort of horrifying violence, and it's really quite shocking, but also quite fascinating, like, as a study in fear, control, and the power that an idea can have, and how a cult could theoretically and very believably sort of become this massive thing. So in case you haven't seen it or you don't know what it's about, it's basically the idea that people suddenly get visited by an apparition that tells them exactly when they're going to die. So it could be in a few hours, in a few weeks, or a few years. And then when your time is up, 3 figures that look very hellish come along and basically beat you to a pulp and kill you, and then like burn your body, so it's just literally a mangled corpse that's unrecognisable that's left. And so then this young man played by Yuayin, he basically tells everyone about these apparitions and warns people that this is divine intervention, that these figures are coming to punish sinners. So then this whole cult forms around this, and people start becoming very scared and basically shunned, because if you've been given one of these premonitions, then you're a sinner, then you're a despicable person, and so then violence erupts, society kind of goes off the rails. And yeah, like, it's really interesting. Watch it if you haven't already watched it, if you can stomach it, because it is intense. And to be honest, to counteract the intenseness of this drama, I watched this sort of like really, I don't know, like cheesy rom-com series afterwards, just because I just was like, oh, dead to the world after that. An astrological guide for the brokenhearted, and this is an Italian language series. It follows this young woman who works at a TV production studio, and she just feels alone. So it's like the usual rom-com setup of like the woman on her own pining for love. And then she meets this guy called Tio, who's like a expert in horoscopes, and he basically tells her that she needs to date the compatible horoscope. So that's where the premise starts, and it just sort of goes around this whole idea of dating your ideal match through the zodiac signs. And then she creates like this game show around the idea of, like, I think it's called like Love in the Stars or something like that. And then yeah, so it's just really cute, cheesy, and I really enjoyed it. It made me laugh, it made me chuckle, and yeah, it's just like something nice and fluffy. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just need a good rom-com to just make you feel a bit warm and fuzzy inside. And then obviously kind of started talking about it, but Wheel of Time, like, I'm intrigued. I wouldn't say like it's amazing, but quite often TV shows have to settle into themselves, and like the beginning of a TV show, it has so much to set up. So, and as far as I'm aware, like the Wheel of Time, it's like 14 books, so they've got time for it to sink in and to sort of create something quite epic. So yeah, I'm intrigued. Like, the mythology of the show so far is quite fascinating. Like, the Aes Sedai are really cool. The idea of like the Dragon Reborn, who's like powerful enough to either save the world or destroy the world. I think that's quite an interesting concept, and it should be quite a ride to find out who the Dragon Reborn is. I kind of have an idea who it is already, but I'm not going to say. And to see how that unfolds and whether that person is going to be good or bad. But yeah, like, I'm enjoying it so far, but I feel like it's going to get better, and the fact that they've already greenlit season 2, which is currently filming, and season 3, it kind of tells you that Amazon is very invested in creating this drama. So it feels like it's going to unfold and become better and better as things go on. Hopefully, anyway. Right, on to films. Again, I watched too many films this month. Like, literally too many. The first film I watched in November was Last Night in Soho, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I mean, with horror films, they always sort of drop off at the end. So this one kind of did sort of get a bit too ridiculous towards the end, but I really liked it. Like the 60s fashion, the music, just the idea of like these duality between these two women, and how Edgar Wright shot some of it. Like, it's crazy. Everything blends and so fluid. And yeah, it's just quite a hypnotising film. And then there's some really kind of disturbing moments that really kind of made me feel uncomfortable, like where everything becomes sort of crazy and sort of fervent. But yeah, it was a cool experience. Like, it's the kind of film you have to see in the cinema, because like it wouldn't have scared me as much as it did if I'd watched it at home on my sofa, but because I was in like this massive cinema, and to be honest it was quite empty, which was cool. Not cool for the film though. But yeah, it just added to this kind of creepiness, because I was like, oh god. Would get scared by jump scares so easily. But yeah, it was really cool. I liked it. Then I also watched quite a lot of Korean movies, so the highlight of the ones that I watched probably was The Fortress, which funnily enough again had Park Hee-soon in it. Like, this month has just been a Park Hee-soon marathon somehow, accidentally. It also had Lee Byung-hun in it, but it's all about like this moment in history where, was it the Manchurians or the Qing dynasty? Shiza. Yeah, it was like a historical drama about a fortress, says it in the name, and it's not so, like, there is some action in it, but it's more about like philosophical debates on how to approach a conflict like this. So there's one character that's very proud and says like, we need to stand our ground, we need to defend, and then there's someone else that basically, survival isn't that the most important thing, we should surrender so we can survive. And it's kind of these two factions are trying to advise the king, and yeah, it's really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. And I think the reason why it suddenly became available, because it was available on IMDb TV, which you can watch free with ads, which are kind of annoying, but you still get to watch it for free, because it was directed by the guy who made Squid Game, so naturally that was like one of the big headlines, from the creator of Squid Games. But yeah, like, I'm glad I got to watch it anyway, because to be honest, like, Lee Byung-hun, I will watch any movie he's in, even if it's shit, because I watched Terminator Genesis because he was in it, and it was probably like one of the worst movies I've ever watched. But I watched it anyway. But like, you sometimes get actors like that, you think, oh, they're really cool, they're really fascinating, I want to watch what they're in because they're awesome. And that's the main reason why I watched it. And I like historical dramas from other countries, because at school I never learnt about any of this history. And while obviously it's sort of morphed a bit for entertainment purposes, it's still quite interesting to see a different story as a historical drama. That's my opinion anyway. Oh yeah, Eternals. This was a bad one, wasn't it? I mean, Marvel, it's not like exceptional, amazing cinema that moves you in such a way. I know it's popcorn fare that is there for entertainment. It entertains me. I have a blast. I have a laugh. Will I watch most of the movies again? Probably not. But The Eternals, it was just too much exposition, and because we'd never met any of these characters before, it was all about like building up this sort of connection between them all. But just something didn't fit. I just thought it was a bit lame, to be honest. Like, some of it was beautiful. I don't know, like, the formula's becoming a bit boring now. Like, we've got heroes join forces, have a bit of banter, then they try and save the world, they fail, then they try again, they succeed. I don't know, like, I need something different now. It works, but it's become a bit too boring. And then the last films I want to talk about are sort of more art house films. Spencer. Wow. Can we just say for a moment how beautifully shot this film is? The colour palette, the muted colours, the sort of fuzziness of the film stock, Kristen Stewart's brilliant, amazing performance, and how heartbreaking this film was. Like, literally, I found myself at the end trying to hold in the tears. After the cinema, I went to my car and I just cried for a moment because it really got me. Like, just, really beautiful, sad, powerful film. And then for a while afterwards, it just made me feel a bit empty. it's strange how films can do that to you sometimes, like just present you with such a raw emotional story that you just kind of feel paralysed for a while and numb because you don't know what to feel anymore. Oh. And also another highlight of the film was like the scene with the pheasant, because I love pheasants, they're cool. And then the last two films I want to talk about are Wong Kar-wai films. We've got Chungking Express and In the Mood for Love. First time watching Chungking Express, second time watching In the Mood for Love. Loved them both. There's just something so magnetic about Wong Kar-wai's films. So Chungking Express, it's funny, it's charming, again, like there's just something kinetic and beautiful and just really magnetic about Wong Kar-wai's movies. And I really enjoyed this. Like, if you haven't seen it, please watch it, and I'm sure you'll fall in love with it as much as I have. And then obviously this movie, In the Mood for Love, may just be the most beautiful love story ever put to film. That is a bold statement, but seriously, the music that is like a recurring motif, the colour palette, everything just makes this an experience, and it is hands down one of the best films I've ever seen. And I've seen an awful lot of movies, so you can trust me on this. Anyway, that is the end of me rambling on about films, TV shows, and the one book I read. This is supposed to be a booktube channel, but I feel like I sometimes read books, but I watch so much TV and so many films. So, apologies, I will try to do better for you. I'm being weird now. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, please. Let me know down in the comments what you've been reading, watching, and loving this month. And I will see you again soon with another video. Thank you. Bye-bye.